We're up to hole 5 in our journey around all the notes that I believe can help you to play cross-key blues harmonica intuitively. And this is another lowered 7th. We talked about the lowered 7th of hole 2 in an earlier video, and this is an octave above that one. Now, unlike all the other blue notes we've obtained so far, this lowered 7th, shown by the blue arrow, is obtained just by drawing on the reed, not by bending down as we had to do for all the other blue notes. You'll recall that we have obtained so far a lowered 5th off the bottom hole, a lowered 7th off the second hole, and further up a lowered 3rd and a lowered 5th, another lowered 5th, and in every case we had to bend down from the parent reed. This blue note though, off this particular hole, the lowered 7th is obtained just by drawing on the reed. Interestingly, we can bend a little further down 1/4 tone, and the use of this we'll talk about later. Of course, being only a quarter tone, it's not shown on the keyboard. So here's the lowered 7th and also the note 1/4 tone below that, achieved by bending down. So what can this lowered 7th do for us? Well, it can be made something of a feature note by virtue of the fact that if you have the tonic established and you go up to this lowered 7th, it's quite a quirky interval that has some appeal. Now, here are a couple of examples of this interval used in context and then something made of the lowered 7th as part of the solo. Now you'll notice in all these examples there's a short sequence of notes as a lead-in to the 7th, just as we did with the 5th solos. Just gives that little bit of colour before the solo itself. Now I often use this particular 7th as a stepping stone to get down from the upper tonic. Or I might use that extra quarter tone I was talking about before as a bend down from that lowered 7th. Did you hear it there? Generally speaking, I don't find this 7th nearly as expressive as the 7th that you get off the hole 2 draw, bending down from the tonic. This is the 7th we're talking about at the moment. Whereas this 7th off the hole 2 draw, it has a wider range of pitch available to it right up to the tonic, and of course it's in the lower register of the harmonica, so it's got more power and generally more emotion, I think. Most cross-key blues harmonica players use this combination of notes a lot. Let's just have a look at some of the options. If you just draw with your tongue fairly far forward in your mouth, you get this sort of sound, which is actually fairly strident and harsh. If you want to exploit that sound, you can use it to play aggressively. But possibly more rewarding is to take it back a bit, move the tongue in your mouth further back and draw much more gently, as if you were bending, but without the will to bend, and of course you're drawing more gently than you would if you were bending. So you get this sort of sound instead. I'll change halfway through. And with vibrato, so the sound that we're talking about now is, let's hear this in a musical context. So a perception perhaps of restrained power. Another option is the trill. Now in classical music, a trill is an alternation between two notes that are a tone or a semitone apart. But on the harmonica, it's an alternation between two notes that are on adjacent holes. So the trill tends to be on notes that are a third apart, and this is the case here with the fifth and lowered seventh. So there are a number of kinds of trills. Here's one kind. And that's a fast trill, and you can do a bent trill, bending down the fifth and the lowered seventh even further to get this sound. And you can do, if you prefer, a slow trill, where instead of vibrating the harmonica, you are actually vibrating your head from side to side, keeping the harmonica still. So you get this sort of sound. And you can do a bent trill there as well. So here's an example of that in context. It's at the end of quite a long solo, and just as the song goes into the bridge, it seems to be an appropriate place to do one of these bent slow trills. You can do these trills all over the place, both on draw holes and blow holes. The one we've just done is on the 5th and the 7th, possibly the next most popular one is on the 3rd and the 5th. But an interesting one is one that's actually an octave below the one that we discussed. So it's the lowered 7th and the lowered 5th, these being produced off the bottom two holes. So it's a bent trill. So you go to the second hole, bend down to the 7th, and then do a vibrato so vigorous that it actually extends over the first hole as well as the second hole, and you flip between the two holes, alternating. So it's produced in a different way to the way trills are normally produced. Sounds like this. And it's quite a gutsy way to finish a song. And a good way to end the video as well.